on YouTube, Void Friends and Family, to print here with another ship build breakdown. This will be for my legendary Jem'Hadar ship. This is very much comparable to the Deimos, which I put out in another video a couple weeks ago, but this is a bit different as far as the loadout I chose. So this is pretty much the build that if T'Pren had to pick one build to go against one random person, you don't know what they have, you don't know, what they're bringing, this would be the build that I brought. Again, I'm a big fan of escorts. I love moving fast and everything. I'm starting to dabble into science. I will be dabbling into tanks and stuff like that, but for now, this is still my go-to. This guarantees victory right here. With that being said, this is not an end-all be-all. There are plenty of people in this game that could kick my butt all across the Sol system. Alright? Take that with a grain of salt. But when you go 70-0 in one of our fun Vs, I think it's only fair to actually put this build out there. As you guys have known from other videos, I love myself some escorts. They're fast. I love being able to move around quick. I'm all about that flying style. This is very comparable to the Deimos, as I said in my Deimos build, and if anything, this loadout, this entire setup that I'm about to show you, it's actually better on the Deimos, not just on paper, but in combat. And I'll tell you why I have this instead of that. Alright, let's get right into it. This is the loadout. This is the ship and loadout. So, weapons, yep. I chose some dual beam banks with really tiny targeting arcs. Let's just head it one by one. I'll tell you why I chose this and other things you could switch out. So obviously our disruptor wide angle, we'd love that. It puts out some serious damage, great DPS. It's also part of a set, but it's only there for a little bit of crit stacking. I'm not really too reliant on it, but it is very nice. This is pretty much the bread and butter of the weapon loadouts. So coalition disruptors are coalition anything, whether it be dual beam cannons or anything, it is the cream of the crop as far as disruptor weapons. So as you know from other videos, we love to bring down our opponent's resistance ratings. This gives a huge disruptor resistance rating proc for every time you fire. This is it, guys. I mean, all you're doing with this ship is bringing down damage resistance, proccing a whole lot of alpha strike, and then unleashing the wrath of God on these people. That's what you need to do with this ship. There's no other way to fly it. I mean, you can just float around and placate all day and never get hit, but that's not the point, right? So over here we have our piezo weapon. You need this. That hidden proc, technical overload. It's a staple on any PvP build, unless you're running something like a torp boat, like something very science heavy, where you don't really need that. You're not relying on beam weapons. Down here we have two Omnis. This is non-negotiable. Two Omnis. Again, they're both bringing down damage resistance ratings. You definitely want both of these slotted. So you are attacking your opponent not from the side. You're not hovering over him like normal, beam weapons. You have to remember your targeting arc is very narrow. So you want as many weapons pointing forward as possible. That's why there's two aft weapons here. I usually play around with this experimental weapon. I usually slot this, but I found that I'm just up in the air. I really am. Both of these here are extremely good, and I'm just so torn by them. I really am. That initial kinetic damage from the graviton, it's huge. It's really good. It does bring down damage resist, but it decreases, distance from the target. I've tried getting an actual, a hard copy of just what the drop off is, and I can't find anything that's actually set in stone. Usually drop offs will start at 2k and then be almost next to nothing at 10k. Normally you're, flying so fast, you're going to be you know, well beyond 10K trying to proc everything. So I don't know. I'm up in the air about this. But either one of these are good. All right, devices. This is this does have the token on it, so I got my extra device slot. Red matter capacitor is a must. Our subspace field modulator. Again, just be careful with that proton damage. If somebody really wants to get weird and get some proton weapon on from the rep store, this could really, really mess you up quick. You just gotta watch the combat log. Again, I always fly in combat log when in PvP. I run nothing but the lithium batteries on this. I mean, obviously with friendly build or friendly PvPs, fun Vs, stuff like that, I will run regular battery, usually a weapon battery. That's primary for me. Auxiliary is a huge part of this build, but I find I could get away with it with all the placates that it runs. Our shield is part of the disco set. Nothing said here. Deflector, best in class. You can use the Elite Fleet one. I find that it's a lot better to have that extra crit X on there. You definitely want, as much control expertise and perception, all that stuff as you can. The Elite Fleet one just doesn't have that extra crit X slot. So prevailing fortified impulse, best in class. I've yet to find anything better for these type of builds. Obviously, depending on what kind of bridge officer things you're running, as far as the clickies and all that, you could swap this out. This is an engineer heavy build. I have a lot of engineering bridge officer abilities, so I want that bonus from there. Our other disco set piece is our warp core, best in class. I mean, again, unless you're running some sciencey witchy stuff, best in class. We'll start out with our engineer consoles. So we want to maximize our crit severity. Our mantra is pretty much placate, and then build up our alpha strike. That's pretty much it. Placates are our shields. If you're able to be held, you're in some danger. So you want to move fast, you want to placate, stuff like that. So yeah, bioneural infusion circuits. It's been a staple on builds for years. Really nice for all kinds of vape builds, all that. Yeah, I love that crit severity down there, the control expertise. Yeah, I don't really care about the hull capacity. I'm not worried about healing. Our tachyokinetic converter, again with the crit severity, love it. Control expertise, love it. Flight turn rate, whatever, it's good. Critical chance, could care less. This assimilated module, again with the control expertise, again with the crit severity. I hope you're seeing a theme here. Now this module here, I actually do switch out every now and then. If in the middle of combat I'm having a bad time or I actually die, which by the way, I haven't died in this ship in about 6 months. I do PvP randoms regularly. I do go Karat regularly. I would say on average, I mean, I'm not on every day, but on average, I probably PvP at least one person a day. And that's not including our fun Vs. So that just goes to show, I mean, it's not a skill on me. It's a skill on this build, I think. It's really nice. So, but anyways, so with that being said, if I do die or if I'm having a really rough time, I will swap this out for the Elachi jumper, just in case I need that little bit of phase in bonus damage, which is really nice. 40% bonus all damage. You can use this offensively or defensively. If I was to equip this, it would not be offensively. The assimilated module is far better passively than another clicky that you have to click. I'm not a big fan of clickies, but I found my comfort zone in when to proc things, how to proc things, stuff like that. So the less stuff I have to click, The easier the match is, the more fun I have. But again, if I'm having a rough time, the Lachi jumper is nice. You'll see a lot of guys in karate using this. I mean, God, I'd say most of the regular faces are using this, or not this, the Lachi jumper. It's kind of annoying, but you get used to it. All right, so weapon sensor enhancer, the accuracy rating, it's definitely there for the accuracy rating. Second to that, the control expertise is nice. You can make this into a plasma build and start getting some set bonuses. That's up to you. Enhanced induction coils, we fly the ship in auxiliary mode, which promotes our stealth and a whole bunch of other stuff. Really nice to have that boost. Hostile acquisition, control expertise, and accuracy. I mean, this accuracy rating in space is 118, so I'm actually starting to play with the accuracy rating on this. I think that's way too low, but when you're using stuff to debuff your targets, I mean, it's more than enough. You just have to know who you're playing against, if you're playing against multiple people, who to target, primary, stuff like that. Hopefully, if you're in a team setting, you're calling out targets. That's very critical in that kind of situation. So the TAC consoles. Oh my God, he's not running Proto Matters. Yes, I'm not running Proto Matters because I don't have to heal. I'm not being. Nobody's able to target this ship. Again, this is. I mean, it's horrible, but if Cryptic doesn't want to fix it, this is what we're dealing with, and you gotta find the best of the best for the situation. I don't think Exodus and Stealth, I don't think it's going to get nerfed. I hope it does. I really do. Before all that stuff, it was really fun to PvP and everything. You just got heavy hitters out there making these crazy DPS builds, but now it's all about stealth and everything else. So with that being said, this build, you don't have to heal. You're not being shot at, you don't have to heal. So why put consoles that are just going to heal you? Now, Proto Matters, they'll give you the same damage, but that proc for healing is there. These, you get a boost to crit severity, so almost a 50% chance across the board here of a boost to crit severity. That is insanely huge. I mean, the stats, 231 at standstill. That's without the stacking bonuses on the Lorca module, stuff like that. It's ridiculous. I did run 6 of these. I found that having this was nice because of the penetration and the crit chances there. Yeah, we don't really care about that, but the power setting for the weapons, it's always nice to just make sure your weapon power is always there. You never want a weapon to just be waiting on power. Never. You always want an excessive power, and yeah. So again, we finish up with Lorca module. These stations, alright, so again, very similar to the Jem'Hadar, or the Deimos. This should not be here. This should be, I was fighting a cotton candy machine earlier today, so that should not be there. I would put reverse shield polarity there. Alright, so here we are. So again, a lot of engineering skills here, so that kind of ties in with other things, not just for the warp core or the engines, but it ties in with other things. We are trying to maximize the best out of our pilot abilities, and we are maxing out all of our intel abilities, and that also ties into different starship traits, stuff like that. So, I mean, it's pretty much the same as the Deimos guys. Aside from, the Deimos, I was pretty much running preferential targeting. That can be on and off. I don't mind preferential targeting, but it's just I found a lot easier. Normally I would actually proc the cannon scatter volley. I know that you don't have to, but I don't know. I can't break that habit. So I found this to be a lot easier than preferential targeting build. Engineering Team 1, staple. You need it. If not, just don't ever step in a PvP. Aux the Sith, need it. It goes towards the DOFF, placates, all that stuff. Could care less about the healing. Could care less about damage resistance rating for myself. I'm not being targeted. This is a placate clicky. I'm able to just have somebody not be able to target me, and it sucks for them, and it's good for me. Emergency power to aux. This is critical. You want that stealth. You also want that aux power. The control X. It's just all around. You need this. There's no way around it. I mean, I've toyed with this build for it's been a year since I've flown, since I've had this, and the Deimos, roughly about the same time. And I've played with this as much as possible. I think this is pretty much it. This is the best I can do with the knowledge I have now. Going over to our intel officer, we have 2 intel teams. Yes, because we're doing Exodus. Oh my god, I said that word. Exodus. Yes, I know. Blah, blah, blah. We'll get into that. Evade target lock. This is critical in case you actually do start taking some damage, and you will. You want to negate some damage. It's also nice to disable stuff like that. Plus, there's that untargetable, just more and more placates. And all these intel skills go into other placate. So, going with our pilot team 1, I mean, I think it's best in class to maximize pilot skill. I don't like the other ones. This guy's not even slotted for pilot. But I don't like the other ones, like lock trajectory. I don't like just, having maximum engine, no turn, and you just set off into the distance. This, I don't know if it's still broken or not, and Lambda 1, not worth it for that slot. So, Pilot Team 1 it is. Lambda 2 is worth it. Now, Lambda 3 is really, really nice, and you could actually make this into a surgical strike build. It would be very easy. You get rid of ETL, put surgical strike there. You would not get 3, which, in my opinion, the only time you should run surgical strike build is when you can slot surgical strike 3. It would not be worth it, in my opinion. But you could do it, and you could slot Lambda 3 here, which it would be the 3rd skill here, hands down. But Lambda 2 is really nice, so you're negating some perception on the other side, negating some accuracy, you're gaining some, it's just a really good skill, or a really good clicky. Beam Overload 3 ties it in. I'll try and go over how I actually go through the wheels and proc everything, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it's a beam overload. Nothing more to be said. Hold together. This I use primarily for the hazard debuffs. It is really, really nice to start, picking those off and everything. Again, I'm not too worried about healing. This is an auto-execute kind of thing. Our Mr. Potato Head, Science Team 1, just like Engineering Team 1. Don't leave home without it. Right? Don't leave home without it. Our other engineer, we have emergency powered engines, which is really nice to have. It ties into a bridge officer, or a duty officer, excuse me. And reverse shield polarity. This is like pretty much the only healing thing that's really on this ship that I rely on to heal. It is nice. I mean, again, this is a ship that I take into random PvPs, whether it be in Karat or random ESD zone PvPs. It's really nice to just have that little bit of insurance that, oh crap, I know that I ran into all those, newer players earlier. We help them, because that's what you do in PvP. You help them. And now I'm against somebody that's really taking me to town, and this is a nice little piece of insurance. Alright, so the reason why the Deimos is better than this, alright, I want to just go into this real quick. So here you have your 2.5 crit chance, alright. On the Deimos, you have 2.5 crit chance, plus you have your crit severity boost. That's what makes it so much better. You're getting more crit severity. Don't care about this chance right here. Alright. The only reason I choose, there's two. Only two reasons I choose to fly the Jem'Hadar ship, alright, is that with the Baul shield on, it makes these nice little red brake lights. So when you're flying around, you're moving all fast and everything. If I see nothing here, I know I have to turn around. And as soon as I see that right there, I know that I can start shooting. And I can start proccing stuff and stuff like that. Makes for nice brake lights. There are other shields that do it. The stock shields, it's just a little too dull for me. But with this configuration, with the nacelles and this shield, it's very, very easy to see. Now, with that being said, normally heat of battle, everything's going off, all kinds of stuff. You're not going to be able to see your ship half the time. So take that with a grain of salt, guys. It's just, to me, that's my preference. It's easier for me. I've flown, every other day. I would go Deimos, Jem'Hadar, Deimos, Jem'Hadar. And I just found that, I don't know, it just seems like maybe I'm just better at this ship. I think it's cool looking too. The Deimos is a bit too flat for me. There's really no way to see where it's pointing. Again, preference, guys. That's all it really comes down to. But that other part in the mastery, that's a huge one. If you can fly the Deimos. I've tried and went back to fly the Deimos with this loadout, and it fits directly on there. It's a plug and play. It's a little different, but pretty much all your bridge officers are going to be the same. All your skills, all that stuff, and you get that extra crit severity, which we love crit severity. All right, let's move on. Our skills we're running. Invasive maneuvers, I don't really, again, I just got out of a weird little battle. I don't normally run this. I know a lot of those Karat guys do, but no, I don't normally run this. I normally run Sentient Starship, or Synthetic Good Fortune. Yes, Sentient Star. I don't know why I was thinking of that. Science. But yeah, so again, as I said in my other videos, you gotta kind of know who you're going up against. Normally if I'm going against somebody in ESD, I'll look at their character, I'll inspect it. If I see science, I'll probably swap this out real quick. Not for the Lachi trait, but something else. Because science, all they gotta do is subnuke you, and all those 40 stacks are gone. Absolutely gone. And it takes a little bit of time to work those up. So attack engineer player, I'll definitely leave this on. I mean, I might even leave it on for science players. And if I see that, I'm not doing so hot, I'm getting subnuked a lot, I'm losing all my buffs, I'll swap that out. Invincible, I don't know why I have this anymore. I really don't. It's really rare for me to actually get down to, anything really. I still take some damage, but I rarely ever Zal. Rarely, so I might in the future swap this out. But it goes back to, this build is going for that you never know who you're going to go up against, so you want to be most prepared. Rhythmic Rumble, this is where we start seeing some bridge officers connect with our traits. So anytime it's active, all that good stuff. I know that it's expensive right now. I got the Rising Corvette at the event. That was like 4 years ago, I think. Don't buy it from the Muds Market outright. Wait until sale, guys. It's nice to have, but it's not worth 17,000 Zen. Temporal Surge. This is our crit chance. This is it right here. This is why we could care less about our crit chance. Crit severity is everything. Crit chance is nothing. We make our own crit chance here. Just know that you're going up against science players. You can get debuffs. So it's all about timing. All about watching your opponent, seeing their little circles over their ship, seeing what they're doing, and timing everything correctly. Oh my god, it's Exodus. Yes, this is a major part of this build. Again, for one, I already submitted my ticket to Cryptic, asking them to please nerf this. Please nerf this trait. Please nerf stealth in general. It is a huge exploit that is unfair to most players. Now, with that being said, there's either two options. Either you hop on that bandwagon, All right, submit some tickets, or you could just learn how to counter this. Now, you don't need the exact same ship, all right? You need a comparable ship, So, you need an Intel ship. Um, there are plenty of ways to counter this. I get countered all the time in Karat. This is not an end-all be-all thing. It's not like, well, you're on Exodus, so that's the best thing ever, and I faced no chance. Well, build a ship that can counter it. I mean, I build ships all the time, to try and explore and everything. I try to bring something new into our fun Vs and stuff like that. Um, try and explore a little bit. I mean, that's the reason of this video. I mean, if everyone makes this build right here, and we have 30 to Pren builds out there, that would be awesome for everyone that's on that top echelon of going 70-0 in a PvP and upping their game, finding something else that works. And that's my view on it. So submit the ticket to Cryptic, but try and do better. I mean, it's not that hard to counter stealth. It really isn't. There's a whole bunch of algorithms, math, all that stuff on the internets, but there's plenty of builds out there that are posted that counter it. Cold-hearted. This again goes towards our pilot abilities, damage resist, all that stuff. It's really, really good. Really, really great trait to have. Yeah, not much else to be said about that. Our space reps, get them to rank 2, guys, if you don't already have them. With that being said, I probably should have prefaced this video. This is not a budget-friendly build at all. It's not like you just got into a game, you just hit rank 65, and you want the best ship. I mean, you can get it. It's going to cost you a ton of money to just outright buy it. I mean, last I calculated, I think this ship had like 8 other ships to it as far as consoles, traits, stuff like that. This is not a budget-friendly thing. This is more towards the meta builds and all that stuff. I know that some people might argue, it's not meta because, Intel and all that isn't meta. But, again, I haven't been defeated in 6 months. I welcome anybody. It's not a challenge. I want to better my build. All right, I welcome anybody to Arena. So, yeah, rank 2, pretty much the same thing. This should not be there. I don't know why it is. I can't believe it because I've been probably flying around with that there for weeks and weeks, if not months. I will change that out. This was part of the deflection and reflection build I was doing. I don't know why it's still there. Counterstroke is freaking awesome. Our personal traits are down here. This is very, very crucial. Extremely important. This helps out your captain abilities, which is sensor scan and subnuke for our science players out there. Our attack players, I don't remember off the top of my head what they're called, but it helps with those captain abilities as well. Yeah, I found that I could get a subnuke instead of every 2 minutes. I shave off anywhere from 30 to 35 seconds off of that, so that's huge, 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 huge. That means that I could proc, all these debuffs, all these holds and everything, get somebody down to Zal, then I just have to, placate them a little bit, and then I wait for my subnuke again, and yeah, it's pretty much game over. I try and time my subnuke for the very, very end, but if it's a really rough opponent, I'm not really hitting them that hard, I will break out the subnuke, debuff them, after sensor scan, all that other stuff, and just get them down to Zal, and then wait for that subnuke to reappear. So, I mean, again, it's not that much from the Deimos build. It's not that much at all. Yeah, that's it, guys. Our specializations, again, going with command as our primary, because we love the thing all the way down here. Boost morale, removes debuffs and control effects for 4 seconds, and that's for your whole team. If you are on a team, I highly, highly, highly recommend that everyone runs command. If not, there are other niche builds that require temp up, stuff like that, but having boost morale in your normal PvP, a huge, huge, huge thing. Obviously, you want everyone to proc it at different times. I mean, team of 5, you're pretty much proccing it, a lot. Alright, Intel Officer, huge part of this build because we are only getting tier 1 and 2. We care about this middle one right up. There we go. Perception bending. Same thing as on the Deimos build that I posted. The auxiliary points adds towards stealth and perception. This is a staple, guys. I mean, you need this to make this work. I mean, as far as how I'm flying this and the loadout I'm using, you need this to make it work. Alright, duty officers. Obviously we have our 4 space, and I say that with quotation marks. I know it's ground, but they affect space, guys. Get yourself some nurses. Keep an eye on that exchange. I know these things are freaking expensive, but keep your eye on it. Our con officer, evasive maneuvers, all that stuff. I mean, no brainer there. Our quartermaster, we are running batteries, and we love having batteries all the time. Warp core engineer, this is a high enough chance where I think it's acceptable to put into this slot. Our damage control engineer, don't buy this off the exchange, guys. It's actually cheaper just to buy it off the Zen store in the Delta expansion pack. Either way, it's freaking expensive, but I'd rather pay the Delta expansion pack, which unlocks for all of your tunes on your account, rather than pay 800 or a billion EC just for one duty officer. That shit, I made a engineer character, and I realized science is almost the best for PvP. And then we have our free association officers, our deflector officers. Yeah, these are pretty much hand in hand. Now, recently, somebody brought to me, I appreciate it, that these don't stack as far as the same. So if I had 37 and 47 and another 37 and 47, they don't stack. That's how I understood it. Now, I didn't test this extensively recently. I know it did it back in the day. But I actually sat there outside of Earth Space Dock, and I made a little, spreadsheet. Nothing crazy. I just wrote down, how many times something procced and something cooled down. And these, the free association, they do stack. I didn't test it for the same. Alright, so again, we're running a lot of engineer. We're also maxing our pilot, or almost maxing our pilot, and we're maxing our intel skills. So these are, I mean, I don't know. I think these are necessary for this build. I'll test it again to make sure that these still stack. I mean, I wouldn't have a duplicate officer here for this build. I don't think. It's just this works too well together. So I think that's pretty much it. Obviously, there's other loadouts for this. This is it, guys. Top secret, all that stuff. You can do the same thing with plasma. The new plasma dual beams, they are, oh, look at that. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. 5% chance for plus 30 armor pen and 100% shield pen. Now, the Alachi weapons, they do that, but the armor pen is higher, but the chance is lower. In this instance, I prefer the chance to be higher, right? I know that I've kind of downplayed crit chance, but that's different. All right, this is very, very different. That 5% chance is a lot, a ton. It's every 1 second, so every second you're going to have that chance. So, I mean, these are really, really nice. I mean, aesthetically, I kind of like the sound of them. I know some people don't. This weapon here, I would not have. I only have this because it was the only thing that was phaser that I could slot. I would probably go with, I forgot the name of it. It's one of them sensor length or, focusing length ones, just to bring up some tack stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Again, having different loadouts on the fly, it really, really helps out. Maybe you're finding that you're not putting out enough damage. Well, shit, their shields, they might have just gotten out of a PvP, and they're all proc to reduce plasma damage. You know, so switch from plasma over to phaser, and lo and behold, Zal. You know, be versatile. There's no build where you could just build and forget and just go into PvP. It's ongoing, ongoing. Every day is this school day. Obviously, you want to carry all your stuff with you if you're going to do that. This came off a new ship. So yeah, carry all your stuff with you. You know, I know it's a lot of gold stuff, guys. I'm not going to say in this video, don't be discouraged, because we're talking about, you know, end game builds here. Like, this is it. I mean, you could work up to this. There are substitutes, but I think you know, in the demos, you know, I kind of covered other things you could put in to fill in. This is pretty much my go-to, though, guys. As far as tactics, now, alright, this is a big part. So you could build this ship, and you could buy it, and all this other stuff. You could have the exact same thing, and if you just put everything on auto-execute, you're never going to beat me. In fact, you're probably going to really have a hard time with many other players. So the first thing I do, now this varies, alright, but stay with me, alright, is if I have a Lachi jump, alright, when I'm about to take contact, as soon as I'm in range and they start firing, I'll pop the Lachi jump, and now, you know, all their build-up is starting to fade away, alright. Once I come back in, then I can start building up. Alright, now this isn't always the case. I don't always use the Lachi jump. In fact, it's rare that I use it. Alright, so normally what I would do is do my forceful inspection on them. Alright, or I could just wait them out, let them get their anger out, their alpha strike out, and then I could proc it. But either way, forceful inspection, alright, followed by sensor scan. If you're close enough, because you should be turning at that point before you proc this, as you're flying towards them, you're in 10k, click this, click your force challenge, you click your anti-time, you click your beam overload 3, and then you click your temporal surge, and you just go to town. Now, if they're not taking a whole lot of damage, or you see them go from 100 to 70 to 100, pop your sub nuke. Alright, pop your sub nuke. That, alright, you still have about 8 seconds left on, you know, your temple surge and beam overload and all that stuff. You know, you still can bring him down to Zal easily within 8 seconds, easily. Obviously that's not, you know, that's not a finite statement, you know, that's not a set in stone kind of thing. It's match dependent, but that's usually how I play it. Now, again, if somebody's putting out, you know, some other kind of damage, you know, I'll, you know, swap out some stuff real quick on the fly. Maybe some batteries or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, so the reason I do that is, you know, you got your hold there for 5 seconds, and then after that, for 10 seconds, you have a negative 50 damage resist. Could care less. Well, the flight speed and all damage, that's nice, you know, negation to them. But again, we're bringing down damage resist, and then we're building up alpha, and we're just unleashing hell on them. All right. Forceful inspection. All right, that gives you that 5 seconds. So you count. Click. 1, 2. Now you go over your sensor scan. You're flying back to them. That 1, 2 should be you turning around, going towards them. Alright, so your 1, 2 sensor scan, negative 57 all damage. I hope you're seeing the trend here. Alright, you could also, you should be within 10k here, flying towards them. Once you get at 5k, you put this, alright, and then you pull this, alright, just a little confusion and everything, alright. Again, you got a bunch of stuff flying around, and now you got this, you know, freaking epileptic thing going off. You know, it's crazy. Alright. Your beam overload, temporal surge. Alright. Again, if they're not taking a whole lot of damage, pop your sub nuke. Alright? That's it, guys. That is this build in a nutshell. Again, it's really not hard. I don't think of this as the end-all be-all. I know there's people that can whoop my butt in PvP. Yeah, I mean, but I went 70-0 in this, so here it is, guys. Laid bare for you. Yeah, if you found this helpful, please drop a like. It really means a lot. Subscribe, share the word, guys, especially if you're, in the Armada. If you see somebody in zone chat, asking about builds, refer them to the channel. I mean, it saves us a whole lot of time, and they might learn a lot better this way instead of, because I've done share plays with people where I will go through all of this in a share play. People that I've just met in random ESD zone PvPs, and I'll do this for them. So it doesn't always help them that way. They need something more concrete. I've broken this video down to chapters and stuff, for ease of access, stuff like that, reference. So if you like it, hit the like button, do that thing. All right. I will see you guys in the next video. Enjoy.